All right, let's line up to bow in, team. No more waiting for late students. Here we go. Ready, stand, feet together, tension, and bow. We're going to go through a few stretches, and Professor Jose is going to take you through some drills, and then we'll share some technique as well as some questions that you have. All right? So let's start. Just in a plank position right here, okay? As long as it's comfortable on your wrist and shoulders, and just slowly you can spread your feet apart and without shifting, slowly try to touch your shoulders without twisting your hips much. Okay, back and forth. Good. Now you're gonna alternate. Bring your knees to your elbows. Just tapping. Now across. Take your time. Good. Now you're going to step forward. Remove your hand as your foot replaces your hand this way. Make sure your hips are square. Okay? Come up. Reach up tall without shrugging. Stay here. And then back down. And switch. Alternating right there. Let me fix this light. Keep going, team. Good. All right. Now we come up and twist, keeping the weight on both hands evenly. So don't start shifting into one hand. Keep the weight even. And other side. At your own pace, slow and controlled breathing. Good. Now you're going to bring your knee in toward your head. Lie it down. Give them just a little stretch, but keep your hands here so that they're ready to go back in position. Little stretch. Come back. Other side. Knee tucks in. Set down. Little stretch. And back. Your own pace. When you come back, pedal your feet a few times and then switch. Good. Now slowly walk your feet up like you're on a tightrope. Walk your feet up to your hands and then walk them back. When you walk them back, you can go a little further. Stretch the shoulders out without any pain. Then walk all the way back in. Then all the way back out. One more time. Good. Now, rest for a second. We're going to alternate side plank on the hand. If you like, you can use the elbow. All depends on how your wrist and shoulders feel this movement. Okay? So the movement here is just turning, turning. And I'm trying to make it challenging. I'm trying to keep my feet together so when I pivot, I and not too wide. But if that doesn't work, just widen your feet like this. And this gives you a little more base. If you'd like to use your forearms, just go to the plank position and just bring your elbow down. And also, if you want your feet wider, just separate your feet, and that gives you a wider base. So you can increase or decrease challenge based on kind of shortening your stance, right? So that you have to focus more on stability. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going, Baileys. If you're waving, I know you're not doing the side planks. Good. One thing you can do here, if you like, is when you get to here, raise your foot up, come down, and twist, go up, down, twist. Give that a try. Keep going, everyone. This is like regular class. In regular class, if you weren't doing it, then I would be yelling at you. Unless you're Sam. And it's computer time. Good, good, good. Okay, now, just one more. And this one really, like I said, kind of loosens up the shoulders. So same plank position. And now just alternate hand and foot. Right? So this one is opposite leg, opposite arm. And just try to control the replacement of the hand and foot. In other words, try not to go like, try not to stop, right? Control. Good. Get a hand for more of those. Good. Try to point your thumb up when you do it too, right? And try to flex your back foot. So in other words, okay, this hand here and your foot there. Okay? So try to really have that kind of straight line control. Nice. Okay, now this is the last one, I promise. We're just going to kind of work into a handstand type position. Depending on where you're at, you may just bounce your feet off the ground. And the idea is just to shift weight to your hands without dropping your feet too heavily. Okay? So, the pretty simple way to do this is just to come up onto all fours, kind of a down dog position, and to just kind of hop one leg up and land the opposite leg slowly. And really, I can do that without ever putting both feet down. And then you can sort of play with how long you stay in the air. And if you're just a handstand master, you can just go into a handstand and then you can focus on how slow you can bring it down. Let's try this, everyone. Good. Control that descent. Philip's got his crash pad there on the couch pillow. Very clever. Who we got up here? Good. If you're having trouble, if you feel like you're slamming down, walk your feet in a little closer first. And you'll feel the weight kind of shift from your lower palm up into your upper palm and fingertips. Right? So you can feel that just by walking. Feel that weight shifting. Then much more control, right? Let's do it for 1 more minute, everybody. 1 more minute. Nice, Philip. Good. Good. Okay. All right. So those are good exercises for strengthening your upper body, your shoulders. But in particular with connecting your balance with your strength. Everybody can get strong quickly when you're isolated on a machine, just pushing weight in one direction. And never does a fight feel like that. A fight is you having to be strong in one direction at times while your opponent is trying to push you left and right. Gravity is trying to pull you down. Your opponent's feet are trying to lift you up. We have to find this balance and strength with our own body. So I'm all for squats and bench press and all that. I like those exercises too, especially when you're just trying to add some, one-dimensional strength. Nothing wrong with that. But how well can you apply that strength and power to when gravity is involved, right? When a live match is involved. Some of the easiest people to sweep in the world are the strongest ones because they hold you in one position and then you just turn them over and you put them right on their back, right? But the ones that can turn and put their pressure one way and then turn and adapt and can balance on one hand, right? And engage their core, their torso, their foot, on one side and then the other, right? So when you're drilling and you're exercising, think about how it applies to your balance that way, all right? I'm gonna let Professor Jose take over for some drills and then be back for the technique and Q&A soon.
All right, team. So we're gonna start with a couple of drills. You can either do it with a partner or you can do it on your own. I try to do my best to explain them. The first one, we're just gonna start with a simple bridge, simple escape. Imagine that somebody has you in a butterfly position, but they trap your legs, right? So you're kind of stuck. And a lot of times we try to always move and sit up, but then they use that to pass our guard. I think one of the biggest keys is being able to separate somebody that's putting their weight on top of you. So what we're gonna do here is since our legs are stuck here, I'm gonna bridge, right? But I don't want to just bridge straight forward. I always want to bridge to one side. The reason why I say that is because then I can get them off to one side, and one arm is always going to be stronger instead of using two here. Right now, I can only push them down so much. But a lot of times when you push people down, they're going to use that motion to go around the guard. Anyways, so I'm just going to bridge and think about you're so tight to someone, you're literally rubbing down your abs, right? You're not here. If I push here, somebody's going to get under me. They're going to get stuck to me. I want to really get that sticky person off of me. So I'm going to bridge, push, and my frame starts coming across here, and I move, right? And I start sitting up. Then I can just slide in back to my position. I'll show you with a partner when Professor gets back. So my legs are stuck. I bridge, I sit up, I push, and this hand is going to end up being the frame under the throat. If not, if you just try to push, they're going to swim under you, right? So again, push, bridge, here, and start sitting up, right? And then we slide back in. Maybe do the other side. I sit up, tight to my body, push, start sitting up to my elbow. This is key right here. I'm not here, I'm here, all right? Then we go back. Sit up again, push, shrimp, watch my elbow, start escaping out. Doesn't stay here, and it doesn't stay here because they're gonna pull my arm up. Comes behind, I shrimp out, and I go back down. And again, up, shrimp, up, go back down. Shrimp, up. Good, perfect. Another similar shrimp we're gonna do. Think about you're in the mount position, bottom mount position, right? And it's very difficult to shrimp out, right? We're gonna bridge. We're gonna be very tight, sort of like Professor Jace used to say, sort of like you have very tight pants on and you're trying to take them off, right? That's kind of like what I'm doing with my hands here, very tight to the body. Anyways, so what I want to do is I want to bridge, push, and then get my hips under. You see? So now I have a butterfly position. Then I go up again. I'm here in the bottom position, right? Bottom mount position. I shrimp and I push, right? A lot of times you start shaking your body out just to get the person off. The idea is to get sort of like a butterfly or at least a half guard position, right? So I shrimp, push, and bring my knees to me. Good. I bridge, shrimp, shake, 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 shake. Bring my knees to me. This is key because if I shrimp and I push you, my legs stay behind, you're just going to squeeze them. Then that good guy is going to leg humble or just going to crawl back into the mount position. So push, push, and bring my knees to my chest. Now I have some form of guard or some way to push the person off, okay? Again, push, push, here. Good. Perfect. So now that we're in this position, right, we're going to look at a little bit of sort of self-defense, right? What if somebody's on top of me? So I'm going to kick. And I'm going to swing, kick, kick. And I start adding my friend, kick, kick, kick. Now this can be applied to jiu-jitsu, right? I'm trying to push somebody off, not necessarily kicking. Good, perfect. Now just rock yourself around. Good. Perfect. So the next drill that I want to work on is think about you're in the sort of sitting position, right? And you have a guillotine, right? A lot of times in the guillotine, we sit back and it's very flat. So what I want to do, the secret to what I think finishing a guillotine, even an arm in guillotine, is being able to trap the head on the mat. It's not about pulling the person, squeezing, right? It's about trapping the person on the mat and being able to squeeze the choke from there. Same thing as an ankle lock, right? So when I get my guillotine grip here, sort of like a seatbelt control, right? I'm reaching over. This is my choke. So what I'm doing here, imagine I'm in a closed guard position, right? I'm sitting up, grabbing the guillotine. Instead of sitting back, I'm going to bring his head or that person's head to the mat here, you see? And now once the person's head is on the mat, then I can finish the guillotine, right? Because now the head is going to be stuck. But if the head is up in the air and I'm pulling, that's most likely when the head is going to pop out, if that makes sense, right? So I'm here, I sit up, reach around the head, and typically the head is higher than the shoulder, so I want to pull it down, down to the mat, and look how my chest starts squeezing the choke. Everything's tight, and all I'm doing, leaning to the forehead to finish the guillotine. You see? I have a closed guard position right now. I could have a butterfly position, you know, getting somebody to the mount. For now, it's closed guard. I sit up, bump, guillotine, and watch this little detail now that we're adding. If I have the guillotine, I can scoot my hips out and make the choke even tighter. Start sitting to the choke, making sure that I lock the guard. Now I finish, right? And again, I sit up, bump a little bit, grab the choke. Notice how I'm moving my hips out, right? This is key. If you don't lock your hand, try to simulate like you're grabbing the chin, right? Lock it on top. Look how tight I am. I'm not sitting back, tight. And I lean the forehead to the mat, and I keep my guard tight, and I finish the choke here, all right? So let's do it again. Let's do it again. I sit up, bridge, bump, here, right? Scoop my hips out, lock it in, tight to the mat, close guard. Good, perfect. Now the next one, we're gonna add a butterfly drill here, right? Hook flip drill, I'm sorry. I'm lifting, using my bottom leg. I'm not kicking my body away. This leg is very important. If you start going away, I bring it to me. All right? My leg doesn't stretch away. It comes with my shoulder, my knee. All right? Good. I can try the other side. Everything tight. Don't go back. Good. Now imagine you have the butterfly, you have a guillotine, right? We're going to sink the guillotine tight into that pocket. We're going to hook that butterfly, lift, and sweep the person to mount. Good. Perfect. Do it again, right? So I have my position. I have guillotine trap. I have the hook, flip, hand sweep motion, and I'm going straight to the mount position. I finish the guillotine. I just get to the sweep, to the mount. And try the other side as well. Biggest detail is trying to do the guillotine is my elbows pointing up. And I'm trying to sweep. I have to make sure I sink that head into this pocket right here. So now this guillotine motion is coming across the neck and the head is being stuck on the mat. Even if I don't get the sweep, the choke, I can still get the sweep, right? I could choke the person from here as well if the head is trapped, right? Like to go to the mount position. Good. Keep going, team. Do a couple more. Cool. All right, time. Next one. Since we're in the motion of open guard here, we're going to do it in steps, right? First, we're going to drag, right? We're going to drag the arm across. We're going to go through the motion where I drag. I personally, you have a lot of variation of grips. I personally like to grab on the outside with the same arm, right? That's probably a very strong grip. You could do a double control on the same arm as well, sort of like Marcelo when you lift the person up and drag them and take their back. This one is more sort of like a surprise. I'm just kind of using them to pull, right? The first motion is simple, getting used to slapping the hand in and then trapping the arm here, right? Then the motion of the drag is not to me, it's to the side of his body. And what I can add is kicking his bottom leg out. If I kick the bottom leg out, it makes the drag a little bit easier, right? I don't have to if I have the momentum, but for now, we're just working on trapping the arm, pull. We're gonna add the movement here in a second, right? Trapping the arm and kick. So they lose their frame. Notice I'm adding my shoulder motion as well. Don't get all like I'm drilling like this because that's how you're gonna look in a match. You gotta add your body into it, right? Second, a leg arm drag can always be countered with an arm drag, but it makes it more difficult if the person's very tight and using the proper movement, right? So now the next one is I kick his leg out here. As I drag his arm here, I move my hip out, all right? So I trap the arm, I kick the leg, and I move my hip out, all right? Now this, it can become like a break fall, just to kind of get used to creating the motion. I'm not pulling to me. I'm not pulling all the way across. I'm pulling in the middle here, right? So to the side of my hips. And it's a combination of I'm getting out a little bit. So now we create the perfect angle to either attack the neck or whatever you're looking for, okay? Going to the back. So we can do the other side as well, or you can keep doing this one, right? So I grab the arm, I grab the elbow, right? I'm dragging and kicking. Boom. Again, grab, drag, and kick, right? So it's a motion together now. My mechanics coming together. The next one is I'm gonna grab, and as I kick, this leg opens, right? This hand motion helps as well. So as I'm dragging the arm across, now I can go to the back, where I can sit up to a leg, takedown attack. All right. So again, I grab the arm, grab the elbow, right? I'm kicking. That's the first mechanic. As I feel comfortable with this, everything's tight. Then I can, after this, instead of holding the wrist, I can open my hand, open my arm, and look how I switch from this side of my hip to the other side of my hip, and I am pulling the arm to me. Most likely the person is here, standing, and I'm dragging the arm across, and I'm using their own pull to get the sweep. Okay, so I'm here and here, pull, right? I can do the other side. Now I can add a little bit more motion. Good. Perfect. Keep going, team. Go ahead and keep going. Good. Perfect. All right, time. Next one. It's sort of in the same sitting position, right? Now we typically work get-ups going forward, right? This time, imagine that I'm sort of like in a shin guard where the person's posting their foot here and they're standing over me. So typically you grab the leg. A lot of times this happens when people are in a half guard position and sit up for the underhook. And if you remember that video that me and Professor did a little bit of sparring, he had a sweep from the half guard position and he made it into a single leg, right? Where he was here. And one of the hardest things is being able to get up because typically in jiu-jitsu you get up forward, right? Or you start moving backwards. But in here, as I lock the half guard, I'm having to sit sort of in an angle, right? So what happens is a lot of times my hips get stuck, so I can't move and they start flattening you out again. This is the key, right? Is being able to turn that sweep to turn my hips, right? So think about I have the half guard position, right? Or even the butterfly or sitting guard position. I do it from the sitting guard when they put the foot in the middle a lot and you're reaching around the knee. In fact, I was talking to a professor. You can hook the shin guard. Cameron used to play this game a lot and throw calf slicer on top, or you can a lot of times hook the leg, grab the knee, and get under into an X guard or the single X. Marcella does it a lot. Uh, but for now, we're just gonna use it to sort of get up, right? So I'm hugging the knee, or I'm in a half guard position, right, with the underhook. Doesn't matter. So what I'm doing is right now, as the person is putting pressure on me, I'm pulling the, actually doing what I shouldn't let him, is I'm pulling the knee to me. His knee, I'm pulling it to me. I don't want the knee to start cutting through again. So I pull it to me, right, and I bump forward, right? Same motion as a guillotine or same motion as a butterfly sweep, right? I bump forward. The reason I bump forward is because then I can start coming up to my knees, right? And now I have the single leg position to take them down here with, all right? So I'm in a sitting position. They start passing with the cut through, right? And I hug the knee to me. This time I'm actually going to invite him to keep passing by bumping him forward because that's the motion where they have to post. That's what Professor Travis did to me. He bumped me forward, and then the hardest detail is not being able to let them step back. I do this to you, Jorge, a lot. Then you can start moving your hips because that pressure forward never stops. Don't go here and then stop and then try to move. No, that's a lot of offsetting your weight there. So as his momentum is still moving here, then I can start moving my hip out. Now I'm sitting up tight. My neck is tight, so I'm not getting attacked with the guillotine. And I get up. As soon as I get up, start moving to finish the sweep. I mean the single leg takedown or pop it up, however, whatever Professor Travis did to me. So again, right? I'm in a sitting position. I bump the person forward, and I get by the bottom hip out. This is the key: is that I don't bump and my hip is stuck. No, I get my bottom leg out. Now I'm sitting up, and I'm not relying on my hands to get up with a takedown. All right. So again, sitting down, bump the person forward, get my hip out, not using my hands, everything's tight. As soon as I get up, I finish single leg takedown right away. Good. Perfect. Again, right? They start cutting through, bump them, keep your hip out, I'm up, single leg, and I finish my single leg. Good. Hopefully this kind of makes sense to some of you guys. I think, Jorge, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that's it's way stronger because the bottom leg adds to the power of that top leg to bump the person up. It's not just the
Yeah.
knee.
So typically what happens with you, right, as you start passing here, as I start passing, you bump, but then you kind of have this little bump and I fall back into my position instead of bumping me and then continue coming to grab the leg. Now, if I come back to you, it's probably not a favorable position for me, but only because you're able to get your hips out. All right. So now I want to work a little bit, team, on the grips that I'm doing here, right? Because this is what's relatable to either you're doing a half guard here position or you catch a single leg from the top position. A lot of people don't have a idea or they haven't learned the proper ways to grip, right? So one of the biggest things is being able to understand how my grip is not about making a grip tight here. It's about using this grip to make everything tight around here. If that makes sense. So it doesn't matter how much you squeeze here or how strong your grip is here. I know a lot of people have a stronger grip than me and they grab the gi, but they're not doing anything with it. They're just holding it, right? So my idea of gripping the single leg is to squeeze my elbows and puff my chest up. You see? Now, this is relatable to trying to finish a rear naked choke, right? Because now I'm making everything around the person, their defense, squeezing and then making them weak, right? So I can go over the top here, squeeze, right? On this other side, squeeze. So if I shoot for a single leg, right? And this hand is going under, this hand is going inside the leg, and I have the single leg right now, then I'm going to actually use this same motion to look how it makes my chest puff. Okay? So now this is about posture, right? Wrestling is about posture, being able to move and maintain your posture. I know a lot of people think like, oh, I reach and grab your legs, I might be able to finish you. But the idea is to get my chest inside. So one drill that I like a lot, you can either do it on your own here and just kind of squeeze. You can put weight on your hands. You can put bands where you can pull against, like wrap them. Like think about wrapping bands around here, like this type of grip, right? Where the band is pulling you away. So yeah, I'm gripping here. I'm reaching and grabbing a single. Notice how I'm puffing my chest into it, right? And this type of drills can be done, like I said, with resistance bands, or it can be done after a sparring session. Some of the best grapplers, they're finishers. The reason why they're finishers is because sometimes they spend a lot of time after training doing stuff like this. Like I know a guy who's fought in the UFC, Chaskelly, right? He probably doesn't remember me, but I hung out with him before, and he mentioned one thing that he does after training every day after practice when he's so tired, when he's the most exhausted, is that he goes and grabs this dummy and he puts him in chokes for 5 minutes and he squeezes, and he squeezes and squeezes. Well, his number one finish in the UFC is rear naked chokes. He primarily finishes the guys when he takes the rear naked choke. And I've seen him get rocked, almost knocked out, and just gets the back and chokes him out because that's his conscious and subconscious, right? Getting that choke and getting that squeeze in, all right? So is there any questions on this drills? Nope. Okay, cool.
Okay, team. So we have I have a couple techniques we can sort of go over and teach. But Always want to give you guys the opportunity to ask any questions. And Nogi, we're only doing this like once a week, so there are obviously differences in grips, control, the speed, the exchange, and how we tend to play the game, especially the guard, where we don't have the grips that can become a big part of how we play the guard. So the game changes a little bit, and I want to give you guys the opportunity to ask any questions. So, are there any questions we'd like to start with today, George?
So deep half guard in Nogi, the game changes because there's no grips with the lapels. So what are the controls that you prefer when you get to that position, that deep half guard from in a Nogi situation?
I really like to focus, and what I'm going to show is the same as what I would do with the gi, probably first before I switch to the lapel grips, right? But if I'm in the deep half guard position here, I want to be focusing, let's turn this a little bit. I want to really be focusing on this knee and trying to kind of turn. Now, if he's leaning, this way, I will start to turn. And one thing I like to do is kind of just pinch my knees together at the ankle here, right? This makes it difficult for him to move his knee back and forth. And then I feel like I can actually start to turn and come up and take a sweep like that. Right? I'm just kind of sitting back, and this foot, this hand is on this leg, right? And this hand is underneath. So my hand just hides, like palm down under, and I can play here. Believe it or not, I have a little bit of pull with the leg. I'm controlling here. Sometimes my hand will switch to control the waist on this side as more of an anchor. It does depend on kind of what he does. What I don't want, though, because one of his best options is to attack this arm, I don't want to leave this out, because that is something that can really mess me up. I feel like I almost have to give up my position. So here, right, controlling the waist. Now, legs do different things, right? Sometimes, believe it or not, I like this position. It looks silly, right? But when he tries to move his leg right now, it's difficult. And then sometimes I can create such space that it allows me to turn that into an X guard game by moving that leg, right? But what I'm primarily trying to do is keep the leg very close to my body, because if his leg separates, let's just look at a couple of things that happen when his leg separates from my body too much. If I'm here and he's able to get his leg up, then yeah, even though I'm holding on, he has the option for perhaps this position, which we looked at yesterday. We also looked at how to counter it, right? But he can also turn it into like a cut through if he gets away from it. Then there's just the crossbody where he, stepping over also. And then he steps his leg back there. And this, I don't like this position. See my hand right here? This is not a deep half guard at all. This is just a trapped hand. He's doing the crossbody half guard, right? So I want to be here, close. When he starts to try to, let's say, step over, I can stay here. He tries to go back. I'm here, right? He tried. I'm keeping that, but I'm really keeping here. He tries to sit back. Now I can typically turn. When he takes his weight off me, I can turn and start to turn that into a game there. But my fundamental focus is anchoring that leg to me, so that when I move my hips and my knees left to right, I'm moving his whole body. He's kind of like feeling that off balancing. And when he tries to step over, move back, I'm always anchored and glued. And that really comes from this kind of idea that you are compressing your body into their leg, not just holding the leg. That's a mistake. It's like, just grab the leg, it's not going anywhere. No, their leg's stronger than your arm. They get it away, they're going to stretch your arm out. But if I'm shrugging, holding, and engaging my legs and my hips, pressing it all into his leg. Then when I move, he moves, right? Then he has a much harder time just making a quick step over, step back, pop up and cut through. He's stuck in all those positions, and now he has to focus more on just balancing with the hips because that leg is trapped.
And something I noticed, it looked like you were doing almost like a reverse crunch, like elevating into the leg to keep that close to you with your legs. Is that accurate, or were you mostly stretching away?
I'm sometimes like, when I'm on the bottom, I'm kind of turning like this sometimes too, right? I want to threaten his balance this way. I don't want to be completely flat, right? I'm a little bit turned. I can threaten here. And when he sits back, like if I can keep going here, I will come up to my knees and dump him. Almost like a kind of a backdoor style escape, right? Like he's on my back, but not really because I've got his leg trapped here. And if he sits back, then I'm free to come up the other way. So just those two movements, and there's way more deeper stuff. Even without the grips, there's ways to hook behind the calf and lift. There's ways to, like, I use my feet to push away and switch it to an X guard position. There's a lot of stuff, but to make all those openings available, I need to keep that leg in the right position, and I've got to offset the balance and then pay attention to how he's countering. Now I can go the other way, comes back, go the other way. And when I keep that kind of, rocking chair type motion, usually I'm ahead of the game, right? Because they're always defending the balance. Cool? Makes sense? Good. Now go do those on Professor Jace. Okay. More questions? Sam, or are you just adjusting your
Sorry, I was doing a little bit of both.
I thought you were really trying to get like that. Philip.
Yeah, so Professor Jose, the three drills that we did, the arm drag both directions, and then the I guess you were taken to the single leg.
Yeah.
Can you just show those on Professor Travis so I can see them on a visual person?
Yeah. So the first one is anyone, a partner.
Hold on just a second. I'm getting a lot of feedback here. I'm gonna mute everyone real quick. Okay. Now I'm not getting it. All right, that's good.
All right, so the position was very basic, right? So what we started with was kind of, obviously you have your hook chin. First thing we're working on is the different variations. The one that I was saying that I like is the one where you can stuff in here and grab the handle. This kind of reminds me of a handle of you create the handle of a door, so you're pulling the door. And first, just kind of learning to pull, right? Not pulling the person on top of me, but pulling them. I like this a lot because I can hook flick this way as well. And then we start the second part of it, and then adding to the progression of this is kicking his leg out. As you can see now, he falls more. I can attack the choke here, guillotine, or maybe start sitting up to the back. And then the next one, it's where we add in a full motion is my leg actually comes out, right? And as I do the drag, I kick his leg out. And as I do the drag and pull myself out, I'm bringing my bottom hook here in already, right? Now that's your preference. You want to just come up on top, that's fine. I like to control the hip, that's why. Because when I get here and I slide my hip out, now my hip is going on top, drawing pressure here, and I'm attacking the top. I can either sit up and attack the back, or I can kind of pull him to me and get the back in this position, right? So that was the three progression of the drill. First learning the handle, then kicking it, and then moving around. So each level gave me something. First one was I can hook flip him. The second one, I can attack his neck. The other one is where I was able to then drag to the back. The single leg position is when he's standing. I was talking to Professor about this actually. Is you putting your shin right here, right, and controlling this position here. Or when they're just sitting right here. But this is key. This controlling the heel with this foot is going to be essential, because what I'm going to eventually do is separate my legs like this, right? So if I stay in this position, he's just going to push me back, start cutting through, getting the underhook. So what I'm doing is I'm grabbing and I'm bumping him forward this way. So as you can see, my bottom leg is bumping. Now you think he's going to be able to backstep, right? But because look how I'm able to hook, I'm able to do a lot of stuff, you know, the backstep. But I'm not going to be able to stay here for long, right? Now this motion, I'm not putting him on top of me. I'm pulling him to the side. And now this is where I was saying I take my bottom leg and I bring this ankle with me. You see, this is huge. Then we stand up, I have a single leg position. You see, and that's what Professor did to me on that one video where we recorded. And then I finish the motion. All right. So as I was here, I bump them as they're cutting through, follow the single leg, come up. A lot of times I can switch that grip to the bottom leg if I can't keep it with my ankle. All right. Does that make sense, Philip?
Yes, sir. Thank you. That was it. I just want to see it once.
One note to that. Hold on. Let me mute you guys. There we go. That arm drag drill that you guys were doing, just drill that 1,000 times, because all of those techniques are, well, except for maybe the last one, but all those arm drag techniques assume that he got the arm drag, right? If he knows all the follow-ups, let's go back, but his arm drag is kind of slow or weak, then he's never getting it, right? Or he'll start to do it, but if it's not like right, I can block with my elbow here. You see that? Working that drill, that arm drag over and over again to where you're not thinking about it. It's just automatic. And then the reaction of what I do, I stand up, I try to defend, I move. That's just following their reaction. But getting that arm drag is the most important thing. That's one of those, like, I'll equate it. Remember we were doing the judo like throws, right? And I was like, just working your turns, right? Because the way you finish might be different. But being able to automatically pull and turn without thought is going to open up the whole game. This is one of those movements, like, just when he has this, he's ahead. Whether I'm here, whether I come up, whether I turn, it's all him. But there's no halfway doing an arm drag. That should be a fast movement. And the only way you build accurate speed is through repetition. So those drills you guys were doing where you're drilling that arm drag, just do that 1,000 times. And that's really just to kind of a note on that, like, you will see Olympic level athletes drilling the most basic things. You'll see world-class boxers drilling their jab, right? Why are they not drilling the trickier, more advanced moves? Because those parts of the moves are actually easier. It's getting it started that has to be done with the right accuracy and the right speed. So the arm drag, that's the automatic one. You get that, the other person, what do? They have to defend. And then you just react off their defense, right? You sweep them, you take the back, you take a choke, you put them into like an X guard, whatever you do. But that motion, that's the part that has to be automatic. So those are the movements you got to drill like 1,000 times.
Do it from standing to shadow boxing?
Yeah. Say again?
Do it from like shadow wrestling.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like the arm drag is really a wrestling move we do standing, right? We're just kind of here, right? And it's like slow motion, whether I'm gripping here, it's still pop. So that's just taken to here. It's the same thing. Oh, you kick the leg out, you pull in, right? But that motion where you're changing the angle of the arm against them, you completely offset who's in charge. Put it that way. You guys are even, you get the angle on the arm drag, you're way ahead. You're way ahead. Nothing else happens until they start to defend. Like they got to get even before they can do anything. Anyway, I got a little excited there. But like my point is like you got to drill those movements thousands of times. That is the secret to being a really effective grappler is drilling your basic techniques, thousands of repetitions. So then when you have the opportunity, you don't even have to engage your conscious brain. Your body just takes over. Okay, enough of that. All right. We have time for another 1 to 2 questions, if we have them there. Melissa. Hi.
Okay. So I have a question for you because I've been working on trying not to be flappy arms on my stand-up game. And I've been working a lot with the wrist rotation like you're showing me. And what I've noticed right away is I have to have a transition that works for me off the bat, because a lot of times I'll get somebody in that, I'll get the wrist control just like I want, but it's a hard transition to an arm drag.
Yeah.
And so they could easily recover the position if they're stronger than me or if they posture up in defense. And I don't really have a go-to off that.
Have you done the arm drag 5,000 reps yet?
Yeah, I'm so close to that.
Okay, because that will help. Right?
Okay.
Certainly will. But
Yeah.
here's something just to consider. I don't know exactly what the question is, but
this. So I get this on Jack, and I'm here, right? It's really hard for me to get the arm drag before he postures out of it.
yeah.
I'm back at neutral.
Okay. All right. So let's change the beginning part of that, right? So one idea here. You're very far away, like this. This is me coming in. I feel like I'm going to give him the arm drag. Because really an arm drag is kind of like a half guard. It's really neutral until somebody gets an angle. Right here, like we both have an arm drag, right? It's whoever gets the angle that has that. So there are a few ideas here, but one to consider is this grip that we did before. One advantage of this, I'm far away, okay? This is fine. They're both great, right? But one advantage of this is the grip that I have makes it more difficult for him to quickly pummel out. Like here, he can pummel to the inside, yeah, and he goes against my thumb. Here, to go against my thumb, he can, but he has to kind of open his arm, which weakens it and allows for the arm drag, or allows for the single leg, okay? So maybe play with that other grip. The other thing, let's go back to the regular grip. You're just here. This is not very effective. This is, right? It's like I wouldn't grab the head without putting some pressure down. So why would I grab the wrist? Like if Professor Jose grabs my wrist and doesn't pull, I love when people do this because I get such a quick, I get like a wrist drag, really. That grip without weight is such an easy switch. So if we're kind of in our position, right? I want to put some weight down, corkscrewing that hand, putting the weight down. I also feel now that if I get closer, I'm a little safer because he doesn't have that arm to single leg, right? It also makes the head grip a little easier. And now, like I'm close in, if he tries to shoot in, I've got too much weight on him. And then from here, I can go from neck to drag also. But I think maybe what you're doing is being kind of far away and hoping to get a drag from here. And you're way too far away. So what you got to do is kind of get confident being close without getting taken down. What do we have to do? We've got to lower ourselves. We were talking about this yesterday. With the gi, I can grip up in posture. No gi, I've got to stay in more of a wrestling type stance until I close the gap, get some underhooks and head control. My back is still straight. My hand is down here, especially this one kind of protecting. I'm moving in, and now I'm here. And really, or here, it's fine. The same thing. Like, if I get this, I'm either close enough, and it's really fast, Or from kind of getting from here, get a little heavier. Maybe come in, tie up, and then switch it up. One thing that I think you do sometimes, Melissa, is like you'll play a little high, but you kind of like get away from it. Like you want an arm drag, but not in the proximity that you might need to make that move work. Is what I'm saying making a little bit of sense in terms of like getting heavier and getting a little closer?
Yes, and actually when I see you do it and when I hear you say it, I feel like maybe I've asked the same exact question before.
Almost certainly.
And it's just not sinking in when I'm doing it. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah, don't be afraid of getting close and getting taken down.
Yeah.
You're gonna get taken down, right? But get in there and get taken down. And then figure it out. Like, all right, well, I left my leg exposed, so protect that. Try again. Okay, this time I was wide open for the double. Get a little lower, get ready to put the underhooks in. Try again. And keep doing it. And drill that movement over and over again. There's one thing about like drilling something so much, your confidence goes up with that move. And you almost kind of subconsciously just figure out how to get in the right position to make it happen. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to watch, like, you'll watch some really, really high level black belts. I'll give you an example, the Meow brothers. You guys know these guys, the twins, right? They've won everything. They're crazy good. They play some of the most elaborate guards, gi and no gi, berimbolo. They're just, they don't even pass your guard sometimes. They just take you back from your guard. It's unbelievable. But when they were in California and I would go to the school there, they would just drill in between classes. They didn't have any lives. They just drilled. But they would drill really simple stuff a lot of times. Like they're drilling cut through passes and they're drilling basic chokes, a lot of positions that if you watch their match, it almost seemed like they didn't use it, but they did. They used the position to set up the advanced game. Right? So, like I said, when you drill something so many times, you just get a lot of confidence with it, and you start kind of figuring out, like, I want that move. I got to work my way into the right position to get it. And yeah, you'll mess up. You'll get taken down. You'll have to change some things. Like, okay, I'm leaving something exposed. Let me fix that. But keep doing all the drills. Make adjustments. Ask questions like you're doing it, even if it's the same question. It's totally cool. But don't be afraid of losing during the effort. I think that's super important. Like, it's like, oh, I want to get the arm drag, but I feel like I'm going to get taken down. Well, that's why you practice. Like, go get taken down a whole lot, right? And that's how you're going to figure out how to stop it and still press forward into the offensive game that you're trying to accomplish.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're just about out of time now, guys, but really good class, super productive. Thank you guys for joining, and we will see you again, and hopefully tonight, if you're available, 6 p.m., 7 p.m. for Muay Thai, and for the rest of this week as well. I plan on releasing a video about when we're going to open. I even filmed it and had it edited, and it was awesome, and then I realized that we're not given permission to open on the 15th. What it was the 15th was going to be the day that they're going to let us know when. And now that's been moved to the 18th. And the rumor is June 1st. I don't know what the date is, right? So in the meantime, we're going to keep doing these. Saturday, after daytime class, we're going to meet at a park and do like a team run together. All separate, not too many, right? But Cool Front's coming in Friday. It's going to be like in the 70s on Saturday. It's going to be great, nice and cloudy. So everyone looks excited except Melissa. She's going to be doing arm drag drills. But I'll send out the information about the park and the time and all that stuff. But it's going to be fun. We're not going to get together and high five. We're going to follow all the rules. And if too many people want to go, then we're going to have to break it up into time slots. But anyway, that's what we're going to do because I think we all need to see each other a little bit. And that's it. Okay? Good? Great work, team. Let's bow out. I keep almost forgetting to bow out. All right. Ready, stance. Feet together. Attention. Now, good work, team. Have a splendid Cinco de Mayo.